Good day, everyone. Today, we will present our security enhancement documentation for Student Attendance Management System. This system is a web-based application developed using PHP and MySQL. It is used to manage administrator accounts, class teachers, students, classes, class arms, session terms, attendance taking, attendance viewing, and attendance report export. The main purpose of this enhancement is to improve the security of the system by protecting the login process, user sessions, database records, attendance records, and user access. Before the enhancement, the system had several security issues. These include SQL injection risk, weak password hashing, unlimited login attempts, incomplete session control, unsafe output display, and possible manual database manipulation through phpMyAdmin. These issues are dangerous because attackers may try to guess passwords, manipulate the database queries, access the pages without permission, or directly change important record in the database. This is the login form in index.php on line 960 to 966. The system displays the email field and uses HTML special chars. When showing the type email again, this helps prevent unsafe output from being displayed in the browser. Next, this part shows the password checking function. On 955 to 78, the system uses password verify. For new secure hashes password, it also supports old MD5 password so that old accounts can still log in. This is important because the system improves security without breaking old user accounts. One of the most important security features in progressive login rate limiting, on line 127 to 142, the system defines the lock duration. After failed login cycle, the lock time increases. It starts at 15 seconds, then 2 minutes, then 15, then 2 hours, and then to 24 hours. This protects the system from brute force attacks, where someone keeps guessing password many times. On lines 152 to 85, the system checks the login attempts table to see if the user is currently locked. If the lock unit time is still greater than the current time, the system calculates the remaining time and shows a message saying that there are too many login attempts. On lines between 205 to 275, the system records failed login attempts. The maximum attempt per cycle is 3. If the user reaches 3 failed attempts, the system sets a lock unit time and increases the lock level. This means the more the user keeps failing, the longer the system locks the login. So, let's check the code. When login fails, record failed is called. On line 424 to 435, if the account is not found or the password is wrong, the system calls record failed login. This is the part that records the failed attempts and shows the login failed message. Between line 340 to 368, the system checks if the email belongs to an administrator. The query uses a prepared statement which helps prevent SQL injections. If the password is correct, the system regenerates the session ID, stores the admin session details, clears failed login attempts, and redirects the user to the admin dashboard. Between the line of 384 to 414, the system checks if the email belongs to a class teacher. If the login is successful, the system stores the teacher's user ID, name, email, class ID, class arm ID, and user type. Then it redirects the user to the class teacher dashboard. This is important because the teacher's class and class arms are later used to restrict attendance access. Between the line of 289 to 300, after a successful login, the system deletes the failed login attempts record for the email and IP address. This means once the correct user login, the failed attempts record is reset. Let us proceed to the include folder. Next, we open include session PHP on line 19 to 40. The system starts the session safely and checks if the user is logged in. It also applies a 30-minute inactive timeout. If the user is inactive for more than 30 minutes, the session is destroyed and the user is redirected to the login page. Next, between the line of 45 to 58, the system stores and validates the browser user agent. If the browser information changes during the session, the system destroys the session. This helps reduce the risk of session hijacking. Next is line 78 to 84. The system sets MySQL session variables, app user ID, and app role. These variables are used by database triggers to check if the action is coming from an authenticated system user. This helps block manual database changes for phpMyAdmin. And then we have the line 101 to 108. The system has a required role function. The function checks if the login user has the correct role. If the role is wrong, the session is destroyed and the user is redirected. This is how the system prevents class teacher user from accessing admin pages and prevents admin users from accessing class teacher pages. And lastly, let's proceed to dbcon PHP. On lines between 44 to 66, the system connects to the database. The real database error is logged using error log, but the user only sees a generic error message. This is safer because detailed database errors should not be shown to the normal users. Now that we have explained the system overview, login security, progressive login attempts, session security, role checking, and database connection, my groupmates will explain the administrator feature and the related code. Thank you.
I will be presenting administrator features, admin code, SQL injection prevention, XSS prevention, and student and teacher management. So first, the admin dashboard. So I log in as an admin. So this is the admin dashboard, administrator dashboard rather. So it manages the main records of the system such as admin accounts, class teachers, students, classes, class arms, terms, and session terms. So the admin side prepares the records needed by the class teacher before attendance can be taken. Okay, so that is the administrator side, including admin account creation, teacher management, student management, AJAX security, SQL injection and prevention, and XSS prevention. So now my groupmate will explain the class teacher features, attendance code, export logout database, triggers, testings, and conclusions. Okay, next is the admin dashboard role protection. So I open the file admin, the index.php. So the line required role, then administrator. So in this line, in the admin dashboard file, so this page uses require role administrator. So this means only users with the administrator role can access this page. Okay, next is the file of createadmin.php, where it shows the create admin protection. So in we have the lines of include, this one, and then for requires administrator rule. So this is the create admin feature on the lines 1 up to 20. So as you can see, 20 is to comment. So this is the code inside the PHP. Okay, so the file includes the session and uses require rule administrator. So this means only an existing authenticated administrator can create another admin account. Okay. Okay. In the same file also, we have the validation and the password hashing in create admin.php. So as you can see in the code, so after saving the all inputs, so here we have the validation for the email address, and then here's the process of the hashing of password, the password hashing, this one, and also this one. So the system checks if the admin email already exists. So if the email is not duplicated, the password is hashed using password underscore hash. Then the insert inquiry uses the prepared statement. So this protects admin passwords and prevents SQL injection. Okay, next is the class teacher role protection. So as you can see in this code, so this includes the sessions, requires administrator rule, and uses escape output function. So create class teacher feature. So the file includes the session, requires administrator access, and defines escape output function using HTML special cars. So this helps protects the page from unauthorized access and cross-site scripting. So here. Same file also in create class teacher.php. So in here, so we have the email duplicate check, prepared statements, and password underscore hash. So we have the email duplicate check for validation if it has been, the email is duplicated, and then we have the prepared statements. Here are the prepared statements. This is part of the checking of email. It's gonna duplicate, and then these are the part of password hash. here. And this is the so the query uses a prepared statement. So the teacher's default password is stored using password hash, which is the safer than storing plain text or MD5 passwords. Okay, so in the same file of create class teacher.php, so this line of code shows the update and delete actions use prepared statements. So as you can see, so this is the code of update class teacher. This is the update that uses uh, prepared statements. And here's the delete that uses also a prepared statement. So this prevents unsafe values from being directly inserted into SQL queries. Okay, next we have a create student role protection and XSS prevention in create students.php. So here's the code. So it requires administrator role and defines escape output function. So this is the create student file. So the system requires the administrator role and defines escape function. So this means only administrators can manage students undisplayed. Output is escaped to reduce XSS risk. Here is the escape function. The administrator is role. Okay, in the same file in create students.php, so this shows the student duplicate check and no student password. So in line 64 to 96, so the system checks if the admission number already exists using a prepared statement. So another important improvement in this line 86 to 92, where the code explains that students do not have a portal or login account, so no student password is created. So this reduces unnecessary sensitive data in the database. Here. And also in this file, so student insert prepared statement from starting from line 98 here to 131. Okay. So the system inserts the student record using a prepared statement and bind underscore param function. So this prevents SQL injection because the user input is separated from the SQL command. Yes, it is. Okay, so next is the student edit prepared statement in same file also. So from 100 line 146 to 165, student edit select uses prepared statement. So when editing a student, the system retrieves the student record using a prepared statement. So this makes the feature safer because the student ID is not directly inserted into the query. Okay, so in another file, ajax class arms.php. So this line shows that validates class ID and uses prepared statements. So from line 18 to 68, or 1 to from 1 to 69. Okay, so inside this code, so this file loads class arms based on the selected class. So the important security part is that the class ID is validated and the database query uses a prepared statement. So this prevents unsafe input from being used directly in the query. Here, prepared query, bind param. Okay, next is ajax class arms2.php. So same ajax protection for students assignment. So this file is similar, but it is used for loading class arms during student assignment. It also validates the class ID and uses prepared statements. So the ajax request is safer. So from the line code 1 to 69, this shows the code of what I'm describing. Okay, so back in the file create admin.php, so and create class teacher.php and create students.php. So these are the lines that the system prevents SQL injection by using prepared statements. So in these files, we can see prepare and bind underscore param. Then prepared statements are important because they are separate user input from SQL commands. So this makes it harder for attackers to manipulate the database query. So in admin.php, so this line here, and then also this line of code up until here. So in create class teacher.php, also this one here, and then the here, and here, and also here, this line of code. And the last one for create students.php, We have the bind param. This one also, and this. Okay, next is the XSS prevention from the files of create class teacher.php, create students.php, and view students attendance.php. So first is the create class teacher.php. So we have the system also reduces cross-site scripting risk using HTML's special characters through escape output function. So this is used when displaying names, email addresses, admission numbers, class names, class arms names, sessions, terms, and attendance status. So in class teacher.php, we have the escape output function, and then here you have the egg code and the attendance. Also we have the escape function, here we have here, and also for the create students we have the function also of escape output. Okay, we have the escape output here. This one also is part of the escape output function here.
Good day everyone, especially to our instructor, Sir Digaria. I am Karen and today I will be presenting my part of our system. My discussion focuses on the class teacher feature, attendance, security, reports, change password, logout, database triggers, testing, and conclusion. In this part, I will explain how the class teacher side works, how the system protects attendance records, and how the database triggers prevent manual changes through phpMyAdmin. I will also show the important code parts and testing results to prove that the security features are working properly. So what I would show, we're going to open the browser using the example. Then let's open the class teacher page protection. What I should open is the class teacher take attendance.php. In lines 21 to 30, what I will say on lines 21 to 30, the attendance page includes the database connection and session file, then uses require rule, class teacher. This means only user with the class teacher rule can access the attendance page. If the user is not a class teacher, the system will block the access or redirect the user. On lines 39 to 49, the system validates the class teacher session values. It checks the user ID, class ID, and class arm ID. If any value is missing or invalid, the session is destroyed and the user is redirected back to the login page. This prevents invalid or unauthorized users from taking attendance. On lines 51 to 64, the system sets database session variables for attendance protection. The system sets values such as app underscore user underscore ID, app underscore rule. This tells the database that the action is coming from an authenticated class teacher. This is important because the database triggers check these values if someone tries to manually insert, update, or delete record through MyAdmin, the required system rule is not set so the database blocks the action. On lines 77 to 100, the system gets the assigned class and class arm of the login class teacher. This is important because the teacher should only take attendance for students assigned to their own class and section. This also prevents the teacher from accessing students from other sections. On lines 132 to 185, the system checks attendance record already accessed for the current date. If there are no records yet, the system loads only the students from the teacher assigned class and class arm. Then the system creates attendance records for those students. This makes the attendance process organized and limited only to the correct class and section. On lines 222 to 249, the system checks if attendance has already been taken for today. If attendance already exists, the system displays a message and prevents repeated attendance submission. This protects the attendance records from duplication. On lines 259 to 275, the system updates the selected students as present. The update query uses a prepared statement so the attendance update is protected from SQL injection. This means the system does not directly trust user input. Now let's open the class teacher change password.php. In 19 to 37, the page requires the class teacher rule and uses a password checking function. The function supports password_verify for secure password, and it also supports old MD5 passwords for compatibility, online compatibility. Now let's go to the database security login attempts table. What I should open is the database file. Let's go for the exam and click the MySQL admin, and let's go to the attendance management system and click to new because this is the database for our system. To the login attempts table, let's go to the code. Let's go to the database file, attendance system. The login attempts table, it stores the email address, IP address, number of attempts, last attempts time, and locked until time, and lock level. This table supports the progressive login rate limiting feature. Because of this, repeated wrong password attempts can be tracked and controlled. Audit fields, these are treated by, updated by, last update. These fields help track who created a record, who updated it, and when the update happened. This improves accountability because the system can identify record changes. On line 79 to 106, the database has triggers for the admin table. These triggers block manual insert, update, or delete actions. If the action is not performed by an authenticated administrator inside the system, this prevents unauthorized user from manually creating or changing admin account through PHP MyAdmin. On lines 184 to 211, the database has triggers for attendance. These triggers protect attendance records and allow actions only when the system sets the correct authenticated context. This means attendance records should only be created or updated through the class teacher system. On lines 504 to 531, the database protects student records. If someone tries to manually insert, update, or delete student records directly in the PHP MyAdmin without the proper system rule, the database blocks the action. This forces users to use the actual system instead of directly manipulating the database. And let's test the admin login testing. So let's go for the attendance system in our exam and start the Apache, and let's go for the students. Okay, first I will test the admin, and what I should do is enter the correct admin email and password. First, I will test the admin login. I will enter the correct admin email and password. After logging in, the system redirects me to admin dashboard. This means the system correctly detects the admin rule and allows access to admin features. Next, I will test the class teacher login. I will enter the correct class teacher email and password. After logging in, the system redirects me to the class teacher dashboard. This means the system correctly detects the class teacher rule and allows the teacher to access only the teacher features. Now, I will test the login attempt security. I will enter the correct email but wrong password several times. After 3 failed attempts, the system temporarily locks the login. As you can see here, it's too many login attempts. If failed attempts continue, the lock duration increases progressively. This helps protect the system from the brute force attacks. That means if you keep inputting wrong password, it will increase. As you can see, it become 2 minutes, and after that 2 minutes it will become 60 minutes, which is equivalent to 1 hour, and it turns to 24 hours. Now we're here in a class teacher dashboard. So let's go to take an attendance. And I am logged in as a class teacher, and the system shows only the student assigned in my class, the class, and a class arm. I will mark selected students are present and submit the attendance, and the system successfully saves the attendance because these actions came from the authenticated class teacher's account. Now I will test duplicate attendance prevention. Since attendance has already been submitted for today, I will try to take attendance again. Attendance has already been recorded. The system prevents the second submission and shows a message the attendance has already been taken. This protects the database from duplicate attendance records. Next, I will test the view class attendance. I will select a date and view the attendance records. The system only displays the attendance records from my assigned class and class arms. Let's click this today, view attendance here. This proves that the class teacher cannot view attendance records from other section. Now, I will test the view student attendance features. This features allows me to view the attendance history of a specific student. I can filter the records by all records single date by date range, but right now it's all. The system uses prepared statements and limits the results to my assigned class and class arms. Next, I will test the attendance export feature. I will click the export or download button. The system downloads the records, the attendance records successfully. The export is protected because it validates the class teacher sessions and it only exports records from the teacher assigned, and this is the change password. So we already know what will happen here for current password. And let's go back. Now I will test secure logout. I will click the logout button. After logging out, I will try to go back to the previous page. The system does not allow me to access the dashboard again because the session has already been cleared and destroyed. Now, let's testing in student table through my PHP My Admin. What I should open is the exam. And let's go to the MySQL and start. And let's go for our database. And let's click the SQL query. Let's try to put a new student using the manual query. As of now, let's just use 2 of them so that is it easy to put. Now, there is error because we don't put a table. And let's try to go. As you can see, there is a student's record must be created. As we can see, that database blocked the action. This happened because the database triggered checks if the action came from the authenticated system session. Since I inserted it manually in PHP My Admin, the required system rule was not set, so the database denied the insert.
And this function is the same.
And this function is the same if you try to update, delete,
or add.
Now let us see all the triggers that I made in the SQL database. Here are all the triggers I made. The before admin insert admin only, the admin can update only, the admin can delete only, the attendance update app only. All are in the system. If you try to add a data, you need to log in the system. In conclusion, the student attendance management system was successfully enhanced with multiple security. In conclusion, the student attendance management system was successfully enhanced with multiple security features. This system now includes secure login authentication, automatic role detection, progressive login rate limiting, role-based access control, secure session management, password hashing, class teacher password change, secure student and teacher management, protected attendance processing, secure attendance viewing and export, safer Ajax handling, database triggers, audit fields, safer database connection, and secure logout. This improvement reduced the risk of SQL injection, brute force attacks, unauthorized access, weak password storage, session misuse, unsafe output display, and manual database manipulation. Overall, the enhanced system is more secure, organized, and professional. And that's all, sir, and thank you. And this is the end of our presentation.